Hey there, guys. Sean Michael here from WinBeta, and welcome to episode 49, maybe 0.5, of the WinBeta Podcast for the week of January 22nd, 2016. With me, as always, is co-host Zach Bowden. How you doing, Zach?
Hello, everybody.
And this week we talk about all sorts of different things. We got Windows 10 related news. We have Windows 10 mobile related news. We have all sorts of news with Redstone builds. We have, is Windows 10 mobile actually rolling out? All sorts of things like that.
Just skip over it. Just stuff today. We got stuff. We've done this intro once before, and then YouTube literally died on us, so we had to move over to Twitch. So if you're watching us live, you're watching us via twitch.tv/WinBeta. We should probably start promoting this URL if
that's true.
People watching us from here from now on. Do you reckon we should stick with... Guys, should we stick with Twitch?
In live and sticking out with us. If you're on the rebroadcast, obviously it's not that different for you, but the video quality should be higher and that sort of thing. I have no idea how Zach is gonna figure all this sort of thing out later.
I mean, it's up to the audience, I guess, where we stream since they watch us. Do you prefer YouTube or Twitch? That's the question we're gonna ask today. We should probably dive in since we're half an hour late.
Yes, for our live listeners, we will try to not be too long.
Let's be
there.
Pretty quick with this public service announcement.
Public service announcement. OneDrive, your free storage is going away unless you opt in to not lose it. So it's currently at 15 gigs, going to drop to 5 gigs of free storage unless you click a link. We'll have a link in the website for this very video, and that you just click that, opt in, etc. There's your public service announcement. We talked about this on the Phantom podcast that you'll never hear about. Our live listeners know. We don't think it should be opt-in, but it is. So make sure you do that and share with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, so that everyone gets an opportunity to do that. So there's that. Let's jump into the actual news there, Zach. We got Windows 10 stuff, Redstone, etc.
This week, Microsoft dropped a new Windows 10 Redstone build 11,102. Is there anything interesting in there? Is there anything interested in there? Not really. There's one consumer-facing feature, and it's to do with Microsoft Edge. The back buttons now include a menu that allow you to jump backwards and forwards through your history, just like every other browser in the world. So, not really a huge thing, but it's good to see Edge still improving. Edge extensions still not there. Nothing else is still there. It's still under the hood stuff. So Microsoft is still working on the one-core subsystem, and they've also been working on other internal systems at Microsoft. Now, the last week or so, Microsoft actually deemed their new internal systems as, ready. I say last week, I don't remember precisely when it was, but either way, this new internal system, what it does is allow Microsoft to compile builds at a faster pace and allow engineers to get their code out into builds for testing with insiders faster. Not only that, Microsoft with this release has kicked off its its faster Windows Insider program, meaning Microsoft can now drop builds to insiders at a faster pace thanks to a relaxed criteria that their internal builds go through. So in the past, with the original set of Windows 10 Insider builds, Microsoft had a relatively strict criteria for builds going out to insiders. The majority of the time, a build that was going through the internal fast and slow rings would be held up by a air quote showstopper bug that would completely stop it from hitting the insider fast ring. And that's because of their criteria was like, Microsoft were very conservative about what kind of builds they released to the insiders and to the public, which had bugs in it. This has kind of changed with the new internal systems and their relaxed criteria. Their relaxed criteria basically means Microsoft are going to let their hair down regarding test builds and whether or not they hit the fast ring or not. So a showstopper bug that was considered showstopper before may not be considered showstopper anymore. So what this basically means is if you're in the fast ring, you're going to see more bugs in faster builds. So faster ring builds. So if that's something that scares you, you can either drop to the slow ring, because I don't think the slow ring is affected by this change at all, or you can just drop out of the insider program completely, which is absolutely fine. But this is good news for people like me who love builds, and so far the benchmark is once a week, since we had one last week and this one this week, but that might change slightly. So I reckon it'll be between 1 to 3 weeks we'll get a new build instead of it being once a month like it was for a little while back in 2015. Just very good, really.
Yeah, well, I think functionally speaking, this makes people like you much happier because you always want builds instantly, which you're getting much closer to. You're only, how many builds behind Gabe now?
4.
Four. That's not a lot to be behind Gabe, who's Gabe.
Yeah, you're right.
And so that's a big deal. But functionally, if you're in the insider ring now, the fast ring, I'd consider opting out unless you really want these things.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Just be aware. This is actually a fast ring now. It's not like this is pretty stable, especially now that Windows 10 has been officially released kind of thing. This is an insider ring. It's quite insider. There's going to be bugs, which is fine. That's what we want if you're a fast ring insider. But just, be aware. If you kind of are on the fence, go ahead and opt out. That's my recommendation, at least.
Speaking of the internal systems, Microsoft has improved, like I said, they've improved the way they compile builds and get them out for testing. It's now a lot faster. But that's just part of the story. So the criteria things you have apart and the internal system being improved, which I believe they referenced internally, they called it Domino. So this new improved internal system I hear was called Domino internally, which is very nice. I also mentioned in this article that Microsoft, for the first time ever, is sharing development builds at a much earlier time than usual. With the original set of Windows 10 builds, insider builds, Microsoft started sharing them at an already... they'd already done work. They'd already finished working on the under the hood stuff, and they'd already started implementing features at that point. With Redstone, they just kind of started throwing these out straight away. So that's why it's taking so long for features to hit these insider builds. Because I've seen loads of people complaining to Gabe, what's the point in releasing this build if there's no new features? And with this new fast ring, what it means is there will be less new features build over build, more bugs, but more builds. That's kind of the thing that's going on now. So if you're complaining about there being no new features, this will become a trend, sort of, because each new build will be a lot closer and a lot more similar to the last. So new features will be incremental instead of, oh wow, this build has loads of new features. It'll be, oh, this build has one new feature here. Oh, that build has nothing new. Oh, this build has one new feature there. That's just the nature of development, and there's nothing you and I can do about it. It's just
we might even get a more natural look at how development works. They try arrow here and then they take it out. They try a context menu there and then they change it. If you're getting more and more builds, you're going to see things that kind of get introduced and then removed, which is good. I mean, this is WinBeta. I know I'm a big guy of like ranting and stuff, but honestly, a lot of our fans are really into beta stuff, and this is beta stuff. That's what we want. So I think it's great. And Zach, let's be honest, it helps your video making, because we were running out of stuff to put in your videos.
Yes, I mean I didn't even cover 11,099 because there was nothing in it.
Yeah. Julie accurately said in the comments, said domino. So if one thing crashes, everything does, and everything goes down with it.
Exactly.
Like a row of dominoes.
Exactly. So yes,
exactly.
Quick recap on what I just said, because I know I just said a lot of things and I said it really fast. Let's slow down. Let's slow down and just explain this just one more time.
Slow it down. All right.
Internal systems at Microsoft have been improved to allow builds to be compiled more quickly and allow engineers to get their code out for testing faster. At the same time, Microsoft has relaxed their criteria, meaning builds that are compiled in the internal fast and slow ring can pass through these internal fast and slow rings much more easily, because Microsoft aren't as, all up in arms about bugs. So insiders will get more builds more frequently at the cost of there being less features build over build and a few more bugs. Which
right.
It sounds like a terrible trade-off, but it's not.
No, it's a good. I think it's a good trade-off.
Exactly. And someone's mentioning Threshold 3. There will be no Threshold 3.
Yes, there's no Threshold 3. So yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that it's a wonderful way to actually have. We always wanted this. We're beating a dead horse now. So I'm trying to move on.
Yes.
Microsoft is moving forward with Windows 10 in many ways, and one of those ways is you're basically, to some extent, going to have to be on Windows 10, because there are going to be processors like the Skylake processor that Windows 10 is going to be the only operating system that's fully supported on them. So long story short, is the support cycle for Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 works normally. I have to be honest here. This came out last week. The Verge has an article on this that kind of outlines this, and I think this came out like either right after last week's podcast, so we haven't talked about it, even though it's a little bit of old news. But the long story short is that there's a support cycle that's going to be standard, till 2020 for Windows was it 7? And then Windows 2023 for Windows 8.1. But for newer PCs, if you buy a new PC running Skylake and then try to roll it back, you're not going to be able to get a full set of support and that sort of thing. So I don't know. I mean, there's some weird quotes on it here. It says the most critical Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 security updates will be addressed for these configurations and will be released if the update does not risk the reliability or compatibility of Windows 7/8.1 platform on other devices. So, long story short, this is more Windows 10 pushing. I don't think it's them just being jerks, though. There are new processors coming out, and they don't want to have to make them work with operating systems that are really, really old. They want to move forward with Windows 7, or from Windows 7 and Windows 8.1, and move on to Windows 10. And I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah, this is a no story to me. I don't really care about this. It's not news that I personally care about. And to be fair, if this is something you're worried about, then you should just be upgrading anyway.
Well, like I said, this is kind of, we talked about this pre-show. This is like if you signed up, if you bought like a hydrogen fuel cell car, and then we're like, I'm going to convert it to diesel, and I want all the features. I want this to be running like it's natively built to be a diesel engine. And it's like, well, it's not natively built to be a diesel engine, so shut your face. Like, I understand that some companies don't want that. Windows 10 or whatever, their infrastructure, they're going to have to buy older PCs or different chips because certain Intel, certain chips not going to work, and that's fine. I think that it's pretty reasonable in my opinion. But if there are ways around this, if you really want to stick to older things, you can do that. So there's that.
Oh, amazing! I can time out users in the chat if they spam.
Ooh, yeah. See, I'm loving. Sorry, I think Zach and I are a little hyper. If we seem a little high, because we're like 30 minutes behind at least. But to people in the rebroadcast, we're probably absolutely normal, and they're like, "Man, they're talking really fast." We're on Twitch today. I'm loving Twitch.
Oh look, there's somebody self-advertising. You are now banned.
It's like you're in the room with me, Zach. Like it's hired. Twitch, the Twitch stream, because of how you have it set up through XSplit, is higher definition than what I'm seeing you on Skype.
That makes sense.
And it's not that delayed, so I really like it. Twitch, we might have to talk to Ron to figure out how to code this and everything.
Yeah.
So this Twitch pretty amazing.
It is. It's not too bad. Let's move on.
So it's good.
Let's move on.
Except I don't think there's an official Windows Twitch app. So.
Yeah, that's not an official YouTube app for Windows Phone either.
Perfect, then there's no loss. Anyway, moving on to things that don't have apps. How about Windows 10 Mobile?
Yes, apparently the rollout of Windows 10 Mobile is starting next month, being it has been delayed from originally launching this month, and that was already a delay from it supposedly launching in the end of 2015. That's a report that came out today saying it's launching in February. However, I could have sworn that I read in a number of places that Windows 10 Mobile has started running out in a select few countries on certain carriers on low-end hardware, just in places. Like I'm sure Brazil was one of them. The Lumia 535 in Brazil had received it on a certain carrier. But yeah, so if you're waiting for the official rollout of Windows 10 Mobile, I guess you're going to be waiting longer at this point, which is a shame. But I'm sure you want stable software, right?
I'm so confused by this though, because how many new builds for Windows 10 Mobile have we gotten in like the last month that, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it didn't seem like these are updates. These are like these are bug fixes. These aren't whole new builds, although technically they are, but they're not at the same time. So the 10.586.0 we got was the baseline RTN. Then we got .11, which was a cumulative update. Then we got something else, .29, which was another.
Okay.
Now we're on 3.6. Then it was 3.6. Now we're on 6.3, and there's another one coming. There's a new one coming very soon, I imagine, which will again improve some more stuff. No new features again, which I also believe this is half the reason why we haven't got a Redstone build. Apart from the fact that there's nothing in the Redstone builds for mobile anyway, another reason is Microsoft is still focusing on the Windows 10 Mobile rollout, and they want to get inside of testing these new patches before they finally decide to press the button and start rolling out these patches for the public, which makes sense, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm frustrated because we've basically been on a feature-finished, still full of bugs, Windows 10 Mobile for months. And so I don't want to have people I don't want to recommend that they switch to a preview software because they are bug fixing. A battery drain has been an issue, and then they release a bug fix for that. The 950 XL and 950 weren't working great with it, and then they had to update that. So I think it's pretty. It just seems like more and more delays. It's just getting cumulative. It's like, there's cumulative updates where there's like cumulative fatigue of Microsoft delays. Because now we're hearing, it's going to be pushed back and back and back. And you just, people always say things like Microsoft is a software company first and a hardware company second. And that's true. But if you look at, they're really good at hardware. And I think to some extent they're kind of struggling with software right now. I mean, there are parts of Windows 10 that are great, and then there's parts of it like Edge that just aren't. I still can't use the type keyboard, like an on-screen touch-screen keyboard, to type in Facebook on Microsoft Edge, and it's been out since July. And so, like, that still has not been up. That's not hardware. It worked well on Windows 8.1. That's a software thing. And so Microsoft, which is primarily a software company, is much better at hardware right now. If you look at things like the Surface Pro 4, Microsoft Band 2, I mean, even things like the Xbox, there's hardware that's working well, and then the software is lagging, which is just shocking to me because their history is a software company. How have they not fixed basic things inside of Windows where they still have to delay it? I just don't understand.
I'm going to say this and probably get a lot of hate for it, but Windows 10 Mobile probably shouldn't be launching right now. I reckon it would have a much more comfortable rollout and launch in not a year's time at this point, but the same time it rolled out last year, a year later. So when did it roll out, or when was it compiled even? I guess at the same time 10.586 was compiled for desktop. So this October this year, the rollout for Windows 10 Mobile should begin. That's just my personal thing, because then it will be better and like a much more stable release, and it'll have more features because Redstone's coming and whatever else.
If it gets delayed much further, you have to start scratching your head and saying, is it worth them announcing this in conjunction with the Surface phone or the Panos phone that the Surface team is working on, rather than right now? Because there's no buzz right now about Windows 10 Mobile. I don't think they're losing customers at this point. If you're on Windows, you're here until Windows 10 Mobile comes. I don't think you're leaving in the next 3 months. And if you are, you'll probably look to come back in the future. So, yeah, I mean, comments are saying July 2016, the day before my wedding. That's perfect timing. Well, why would I want to be busy? Why would the last day before my wedding? Shouldn't that have Windows news? Of course, but it's a year after Windows 10. It's the cutoff date for Windows 10 full being free. So then people are going to be searching it online, right? They're going to be Googling, because let's be honest, they're going to be Googling, not Binging. They're going to be Googling Windows 10 because it's not free anymore. Then they see, oh, there's a Windows 10 Mobile. Oh, and there's a Surface phone. I think that they could do better, like something along the lines of what you're saying, Zach. I think. Especially if we delay any longer than we already are.
Yeah, there's the whole Redstone development process right now is very interesting. The release actually. No, never mind.
I don't understand. Who's gonna see Windows 10 Mobile? Who's gonna even know that it comes out if they announce it and it officially rolls out next month or this month or whatever?
Nobody, because I haven't seen one advert for the 950 in the UK on telly.
No, there's no adverts for the 950.
It's just not happening here.
And honestly, Continuum is on the 950 is cool, but it's not fast enough to like replace a PC. I don't think. Do you?
No.
And so it doesn't really replace it. It's like a cool concept. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's just you need hardware to promote software a lot of the time. iOS 10 comes out, iOS 20, whatever number they get to, it's because people are using iPhones. It's already there. Everyone's on it. That was the case with Windows 10 too. 90% of the world's running Windows, or 90% of the people with PCs are running Windows. But that ain't the case with Windows 10 Mobile. Nobody's running Windows 8.1. Or Windows Phone 8.1, you need people to have hardware to look at so you can advertise it.
Absolutely.
How would they advertise Windows 10 Mobile right now that it came out? When they advertised Windows 10, they actually advertised it.
Windows 10 Mobile, what's new?
Nothing. It looks the same, but all the code's different.
Yeah, the apps got changed, but they feature the same features, or even less features in some cases.
Yeah.
The start screen, you can have a wallpaper behind the tiles. Imagine
like
that.
What would they
Welcome
advertise
to Windows
this with?
10 Mobile. What's new? A wallpaper.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me... it actually might be worth rearranging some of these things here. Windows Phone is already a hard sell. You're asking people to give up things, and they're not gaining a lot. What is someone... I like Windows. I do. I admit that's fanboyism. Why don't we just move on to the next one with the WordFlow keyboard, kind of segue through that. What are you trying? What could you sell someone with Windows 10 Mobile that they don't already have?
You can't. Windows Hello, I guess. But then again, the alternative to that is fingerprint, which some would argue is better.
I prefer fingerprinting on a sit-down PC. I like the camera because you actually sit down and it sees your face. But on a phone, I'd prefer because you have a phone in your hand and your thumb goes over it all the time.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to have a fingerprint reader on a phone and Hello on a PC. Except Microsoft went for the Hello on the phone. There's Iris on the phone, which is just like. It doesn't work half the time for me, and it's like I just type my pin in anyway.
All right, so let's go through this WordFlow thing real quick, which I thought it was officially called shape writing, because I did an article on why the WordFlow keyboard needs to come to Windows 10, which it does, but it's actually coming to iOS first apparently. But I was corrected somewhere along the line. It's actually, I think it was called shape writing, but apparently. It's WordFlow, which is a much better name for it anyway. That's the little swipey thing. I have a whole article on why it should be on Windows 10, but it's not. We have an article about how it's coming to iOS, because that's a thing now. And people are up in arms because, as people have talked about it, it's another feature that was exclusive to Windows 10 Mobile or Windows Phone 8.1, which I'd point out wasn't quite exclusive because you have SwiftKey on Android. But the point is, it was something that was on Windows Phone that is not on iOS, and now it will be. So people are upset. And at first, if you look at my Twitter, I did like a complete 180 because I was like, is there anyone getting a Windows Phone just because the keyboard? And then I remember when my fiance did an article about switching to Windows Phone, one of the things she highlighted was the awesome keyboard. And it's like, oh, actually, you should probably shut my face. Because Leah's smart. She's a smart person. She knows how to use phones, and it was a big deal for her when she made the switch. So it is one less thing. What do you think about specifically the keyboard, and then we'll expand to the rest of the concept.
keyboard on Windows Phone is great. iOS's implementation of third-party keyboards is not so great. So I feel like maybe Microsoft's keyboard will be boycotted by the fact that iOS has terrible third-party support for keyboards. So we may have that upper hand, thanks to Apple. But other than that, this is definitely a defeat for Windows Phone users, as is most of the things Microsoft are doing these days. Because Microsoft is a software company; they will support rival software, and by lots of things, they're supporting rival software a lot more than their first-party software. And there's nothing we can do about that. That's their choice that they've made internally, most likely because nobody's using Windows 10 Mobile or Windows Phone as a whole.
Well, Zach, I would say, though, do you think people with an iPhone understand that it's Apple that is the reason that third-party keyboard doesn't work that well on Apple? Or are they going to blame Microsoft because they're going to say, I'm going to try this Microsoft keyboard on my Windows Phone or on my iPhone, and then it sucks, and they go, oh, I guess Microsoft can't make keyboards. Are they going to know it's Apple's fault?
Probably not.
No, they're going to blame Microsoft. Because it's a Microsoft keyboard on their phone. They haven't used like 17 other third-party keyboards probably. This might be the first third-party keyboard they even try. Because to see someone swiping, which is not what it's called, but doing that on their iPhone, and they'll be like, oh, how'd you do that? And they'll be like, aha, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll hate it, and it'll be Microsoft's fault. So, yeah, I don't know, Zach. I don't think...
Microsoft will be releasing a Windows Phone Tile UI launcher for Android.
I don't think people were buying Windows Phone just for the WordFlow keyboard, but it is cumulatively one less thing. If you did an article a year ago on things supported on Windows Phone that weren't on other platforms, you would have a relatively long list. WordFlow keyboard was on. They have swipe on Android, but not on iOS. A lot of it, actually, to be honest, and this further goes to my point, why is anyone on iPhone instead of Android? Wireless charging, swiping keyboards, Miracast, those are all on Android and Windows, but they weren't on iOS. But the more things like that come to iOS, the less appealing Windows Phone is. There was a point where Windows Phone could have had like the best of both, but now it's giving away a lot of its best, and Android has everything else.
Yeah.
So it's cumulatively frustrating. I initially kind of made fun of people that thought it was a big deal, but I could see any one of these being the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Oh boy, I did not turn off email notifications for Twitch. I have a billion emails on Twitch saying people are following us now. Hooray! Yes, do follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/WinBeta.
There you go. I have another question for you, Zach.
Yes.
Why did they bring the keyboard to iOS? Or they're bringing... we didn't even clarify this. They're bringing it to iOS. They sent out like a thing. It's an email, and it says, do you own an iPhone 5S or newer? Do you think your native iOS keyboard could use improvement? WordFlow, blah, blah, blah. We are working on extending this keyboard to other platforms, starting with iOS. So it's coming. Hopefully they're working on it. Maybe it'll be delayed. Who knows? And so you sit there, and it's probably going to come to iOS. It says starting with iOS. That means it's coming there before it's coming to Windows 10. They have a tablet operating system that can't use their swiping keyboard, even though they already own the swiping keyboard.
Yeah. I don't think, but I'm not convinced it's needed on the tablet.
On an 8-inch tablet?
Maybe.
HP Stream? You wouldn't want it on an HP Stream?
Maybe. But then again, there's the Windows 10 mobile tablets that are coming out will have it.
Oh, good. So my Windows 10 mobile tablet will have it, but my Windows 10 tablet that's the same size won't. So they can figure out how to use a keyboard on an 8-inch device in your hand that's a tablet, but then they won't put it on full Windows 10 for people using like a Asus VivoTab Note 8 or the new Dell Venue Tab or whatever. So those people, even though it's the same size, they won't get to use a keyboard that is supported on that form factor. That doesn't make any sense.
Sean hates Microsoft, everyone.
They do so many things that are good, and then you just see these things, and it's so frustrating. Windows 10 is a universal operating system, as Townsend just said.
I'll tell you why.
It's everywhere.
This is happening. A lot of Microsoft employees aren't using Windows Phone no more. A lot of them are using an iPhone or an Android device. I'm not saying Microsoft is abandoning Windows Phone, because they're not.
No, they're not.
A lot of employees at Microsoft just don't use it no more, and that's because there's my girlfriend switched to Windows Phone, which surprised me because she used a lot of apps. And she's now making do with the subpar apps that are available, and she even complained, saying that they're outdated and whatever else. Things like I can't upgrade my house to a smart home.
Yeah, because
of the
Nest,
smart home equipments.
Well, Nest is owned by Google
on phone
so
for the Windows Phone. So if I was to buy a smart home kit, I could not use it. I would have to buy an iPhone or an Android device. I cannot start my car from my phone, because most of the car manufacturers...
Except the new Volkswagen. That'll work.
Volkswagen. All the other...
But you shouldn't have to buy your car based on your phone.
Exactly. A lot of things limit Windows Phone users. There's some things you'll be going to like an event or something, and they'll be like, oh, you download this app, you can actually interact with the lights at the place, for example. You can shine your camera up to it and they will change colours, and you can change all the colours and stuff.
Pokemon Go, Zach.
I can't do that on my phone.
Not coming to Windows.
Windows Phone users miss out on a lot. They miss out on a lot of things. Just
second-class
even
citizens.
just daily. There's things daily that Windows Phone users miss out on that iOS and Android users aren't missing out on, because the industry is continuing to move the iOS and Android platforms along and forgetting about Windows Phone. So Windows Phone is always playing catch up. So if you're using Windows Phone, I salute you, because you're living in the past, even with the latest builds of Windows 10 Mobile.
Yeah, it's weird. If you listen to this, you wouldn't... See, if we ever get accused of being fanboys, just come back and watch this episode.
Today we're not fans of Microsoft.
Honestly, Zach, I don't even know why I'm on Windows, other than the fact that I'm like a Windows. I like it. I like the tile interface and stuff. But you're right. You do miss out on a lot, and it just seems like you're being buffeted by a storm, which everyone in my hometown is. It's just you lose out on things on a regular basis. And then the things that you had that were selling points, your friends were like, oh, like honestly, Zach, I can't type on an iPhone anymore. I've tried. It just doesn't work. I can't do it. It's just really, I don't know how I ever typed full time on an iPhone. But this is like one more, your friends would be like, oh, you can project your phone to your PC. Oh, that's cool. It's going to get to a point, I think, where Windows Phone is going to mean Continuum or low end for cheap. And that's about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else they could sell, because everyday consumer phone, they already have. There's pretty close to perfect consumer phones on the market already. Don't you think?
Yeah.
So...
You know what?
Tablets, I agree with the comments. Green Minion, just Surface, better than iPad. Surface Pro, definitely the better iPad. But for phones, they've just lost, right, in my opinion.
I'm going to say this now because I might as well say it now since we're having this conversation. I was very close to leaving Windows Phone last year. But I didn't, because Windows 10 Mobile excites me. But I'm on my last legs with Windows 10 Mobile. I will give it this year, and I will buy a Surface Phone when that comes out. I will use the Surface Phone as my main driver, because in a year's time, I would imagine Windows 10 Mobile will be at a much better place. But if after that year, Windows 10 Mobile has still not improved and app support isn't coming, and I still can't upgrade my house to a smart home, etc., or I still can't start my car with my phone, I will probably jump ship.
Yeah, I might do the same.
Everybody else is at this point, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm 100% Microsoft. I use everything Microsoft. Everything in front of me is Microsoft. The phone, Surface, etc. There's people out there who cover Microsoft who use a MacBook and an iPhone. It's like, it's hard to be a Windows Phone user. Put it that way. It is hard.
Yeah. You know what's hard? Yeah, it is hard. No. I'm pretty close to...
I sit there and use Edge. This is how much
I'm on Edge right now. I'm watching Twitch on Edge.
I use Microsoft Edge as my main browser.
That's how committed we are. We're using Edge and Lumia.
This is it.
The thing is,
Microsoft
to be honest,
be paying us.
To be honest, I still like Microsoft though. Like I was joking earlier with my wedding.
I love Microsoft.
Like, my wedding could be, I could be like a on Windows.com or something, and they're like, tech journalist uses Microsoft to plan his wedding, and it's like shared the photos and videos on OneDrive. I have I don't know if this is a surprise or not. There's going to be a sway of how Leah and I met and our love story.
It's
like
not
there's
a surprise now.
like yeah, there's like OneNote could be used, Wunderlist for to-do list, for wedding list, and they could do like I use Microsoft services all the time. I don't know. Does it make you not a Windows fan if you have a Surface and a PC and you use Office and you use Wunderlist and you use Edge, but then your phone is an Android? Does that make you not a Microsoft fan? I don't know.
You're the worst person you could possibly be.
I guess it makes you a bad human being.
See, here's the problem. I know people say don't put all your eggs in one basket, but that's what I love doing. I love being in one ecosystem.
Yeah, so do I, but
out from it.
Maybe you don't have to. I don't know. Android beta.
And I feel, you know what the worst thing is? I feel sorry for my girlfriend, who I've spent the last year and a half transitioning to the Microsoft ecosystem.
I just realized I just convinced Leah to get a Windows phone like last year.
Jumping ship, and it's like I'm leaving you, my girlfriend. I'm leaving her with a platform that has no apps and subpar hardware.
like a Yoshi. We just jumped over, dumped Yoshi, and we're jumping onward.
Come in, it's great in here, and then I jump out the back window.
Hypocrites.
I know.
So both of us. Such
Microsoft
hypocrites.
is turning us into bad people.
They better just fix it. Honestly, though, if they had a full Surface phone that worked, I'd probably still be happy with it.
You know what, though, Sean? Microsoft is planning to release another Lumia.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
650.
Do we have to talk about this?
We can, because there's actually news came out today. So the original report claimed it would be launching... did we talk about this? I guess we didn't. The original report claimed the Lumia 650 would be launching or being announced February 1st. That date has been pushed back to mid-February due to software or firmware issues that Microsoft are dealing with internally. So that's fun. I'm buffering on Twitch. I'm just going to keep talking. So the 650 is a... Are you there, Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're there, so why is Twitch not there?
It's here. You're streaming fine.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
The stream stopped working for someone.
Well, it's working for me. Just keep going, whatever.
Where are we? We're 9 minutes, 9:04. Yeah, so the 650 has been pushed to mid-February. And that's pretty much it. That's all the news we have for this. The 650, for those who don't know, is a Snapdragon 210 or 212 processor, 1 gig of RAM, super slow. Low end. It's a low end business phone, pretty much, but it has a body like a beauty. Unlike
it is. This is like a car. Like you see these every once in a while. Someone has gotten like a what's the real is it Skoda that's really cheap? They've gotten like I don't know British car makers. Sorry, I'm still learning. But someone gets like a really cheap car, but then they put like thousands of pounds into making it look nice.
Yeah.
That's this laser cut metal.
Here's the thing.
Laser cut metal, Zach.
Me talking about feeling sorry for my girlfriend, I'm actually planning to get her the 650.
It's a nice looking phone, mate.
As an air quotes upgrade from her 735, which technically isn't an upgrade. It would be more of a downgrade. But the 650 is a nice looking phone. I can guarantee you I'm going to want to use the 650 when I see it because...
I still want to use Leah's 640. It's better than my 930.
That's because you broke your 930.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, the 650 looks like a nice phone, and I will probably enjoy it. I enjoyed the 550. Where is it? Somewhere over there.
It's a nice phone.
I enjoyed using the 550 as my primary driver, and I have a 950.
Zach, why does the 650 look better than the 950?
Because it's got metal sides.
No, but why did they do that?
But they laser cut the metal. They put time and effort into they're laser cutting the metal on the 650.
I know, so you get like that premium shine look on the edges, but then a matte edge or matte side.
It's like, what's my 950 got? So Microsoft had a meeting. They was like, here's the phones we've got on the board. We've got the 650, the 750, the 850, the 950. Let's cancel the 750 and the 850. Let's release the 950 and the 650. But let's make the 950 use this piece of plastic crap, and let have the 650 use a really nice metal body of nice edges and whatever else. And someone at Microsoft went, good idea, and that's how they went with that.
Oh,
let's make 950 users spend 400, 500 quid on a phone, and let's make the 650 users.
And then they sell $50 cases or covers for the 950 that make it look like the 650. Well, they don't even sell them, but they endorse like the Mozo cases.
Yeah.
Like they probably sell them at Microsoft Store, but they don't make them or whatever. And I don't even know if they do sell them at the Microsoft Store. But you just who was at this meeting where they're like, all right, mate, we're gonna take. They probably didn't say mate. They're probably in America. Yeah, all right, dude. We're gonna take the process. Well, they're in Washington. No, I'm not. I'm not claiming that. It's a joke. Dear. But they sit there and we're going to take processors. What should we do? They're like, why don't we update the processor? He's like, no, dude. What if
you got Australian again?
A rubbish or a trash processor, but make it look like a Lamborghini of a phone? And someone was like, that's perfect. That's perfect. Let's just do that. And I don't understand what they want. I mean, how are you supposed to sell? It's like, get a 950 that looks like a 650 and then make it work and then announce like a few apps, and you might have a phone that you could do adverts on. But it's just, I don't know what they're doing.
Like, here's what they should do. They should rip out the guts of the 950, force it into the 650, and then get some apps and then go, hey, this is the new phone we've got. It's the new Lumia smartphone. That's the best.
Zach, do you think I just noticed that one of the commenters, Julie, said that took a dark turn and she's only been on Windows 10 for a year. Do you think, I don't want to, if you like your phone, like stick with it.
No, of course, if you're happy with your phone.
Zach and I are frustrated because we cover this every day and we know exactly what's going on in terms of what we're missing and what it could be. And honestly, we're both kind of ranty people. So like, if you like your phone, like I'm like, that's fine. I love Leah's phone. Like Leah's phone's excellent. I like the 640. It's just frustrating at times, and when you get in that mood, it's easy to rant. So whatever. If you like your phone,
I've noticed people like us more when we're against Microsoft on the podcast.
That's true. People like you when you're against anything. If people love to hate. Remember when we had that
when we write hate stuff on WinBeta, people get mad at us saying you shouldn't be writing for Microsoft.
Remember when we had like I hate Apple basically when they copied the Surface but did it poorly?
Remember when we had I hate Microsoft as well? I'm sure Microsoft.
Yeah, and that's one of the highest read articles we've ever had. is like the why you should use Android and ditch Windows Phone. So
thanks,
there you
Mike.
go. Yeah, this could be like episode WinBeta Podcast 49. Sean and Zach hate Windows Phone.
So let's actually have some more things because I've just come into my mind. My Surface Pro 4 still doesn't sleep.
Yeah, that's a software thing.
Yeah, but no one's doing anything about it. Intel doesn't care. Microsoft can't do anything because it's an Intel issue. It's like I spent 1,200 quid on this, and it won't even sleep, and the battery's poor.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm this close to becoming an Apple user. Look, I've already got the Mac somewhere where it's over there, unplugged, collecting dust, but I've got it and I'm ready to switch to it.
I like I said, I like every Windows. Look, the keyboard thing. I'm not gonna not use my Surface because the keyboard. Microsoft is excellent in my opinion on so many things. It's just a few things. It's keyboard on a Surface, sleep on a Surface. Those things are frustrating. But the phone, that's separate. Like you like your Xbox. I like my Surface. I like Windows on a lot of things. I like Office. I just don't like Windows Phone as much as the other products. There are flaws in Windows Phone, some of which are Microsoft's fault and some of which aren't. So it's easy to get frustrated, though. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to say Windows Phone is not as good of an experience as Windows on a tablet. Like the Surface Pro 4 is an excellent device, except for the sleep issue. What do you think of your Surface Pro 4?
Oh, I love it. It's a beautiful machine.
Exactly. Microsoft knows that's why people, when we had that, remember when we had that poll? And it was like, and Panos Panay was like the most exciting thing related to mobile?
Yeah.
That's because people think that he can do to phone what he did to tablets, I think.
Oh, yeah, and I agree. So with the upcoming Surface phone, I imagine this will be the phone that I stick with. The Surface phone will be the phone that I, adore. I didn't really adore the 930. I liked the 930. But I didn't adore it like I adored my 925.
Right. Yeah.
I fell in love with my 925, and the 930 and the 550. Sorry, the 950 haven't really fallen in love with it. I like it, and I think it's not too bad. Bit plasticky, not too bad. The screen's great. The screen's wicked on the 950, but it's not making me go wow like the Surface does, or the Surface Book, or an iPhone, for example.
Yeah, I mean, the Surface Pro 4 is just so nice. Please, Panos Panay, you're our only hope. Help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please bring the Surface to a phone. People will want to design for that. The Surface phone is going to sell. If they make it they brand it right, it's as good as the Surface Pro 4, but as a phone, and they market it well. That will, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I honestly think that will sell.
You know what's funny? What if Microsoft cancels the Surface phone?
If they cancel the Surface phone, I'm buying an Android. No. If Microsoft does not come out with a Surface phone, I'll buy like a Nexus or a Galaxy. I will do a poll, and it'll be this week's poll for the podcast. They canceled the Surface phone. What Android phone should I buy? And it'll be a Galaxy, Nexus, whatever the other good Android phones are, Xperia, whatever. And I will make that the poll if they cancel the Surface phone.
And I'll be like, what iPhone should I get?
Yeah, exactly.
Be like, what level of Apple fanboy should I be? 50%? 100%?
How many Microsoft products should I leave because they canceled the Surface phone?
Yeah, exactly.
Should I not use the tablets anymore out of spite?
Surface phone gets cancelled. I announce my retirement from the Microsoft coverage.
I mean, honestly, if they cancel this Panos phone, people are going to be livid.
Oh, yeah. No, this would be...
I can't wait. If that happens, though, our podcast viewership's going to skyrocket.
Because they can't wait for us to complain about it and then quit on there.
So WinBeta Podcast, 79. Sean and Zach denounce Windows 10 Mobile.
And leave WinBeta and the internet.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I would leave to Android if they can't, for phone, if they don't come out with the service. Just out of anger of them just like, ugh, they need this phone.
I need this phone more than anybody, I think.
Yeah. I don't even know if I personally will buy a Surface phone, but I'll just be so mad at them that I will leave.
Do you reckon Panos Panay, right now, at Microsoft, is sitting there, he's at his desk, he's got a prototype of the Surface Pro 5.
Caressing a Surface phone.
On his right, he's got a prototype of the Surface Book on his left with an actual hinge that looks good. He's got a Surface Mini that will never be released, and he's got a Surface phone in his pocket. And somebody just texted him right now on his Surface phone saying, "Oh, there's these two dudes on the internet who are complaining if you cancel this phone that you're holding, they're gonna quit." And he's like, "Well, this is an interesting development." And he's holding his Surface phone. He throws it out the window. Goes, "Yep, we're out."
Cancelled.
Cancelled right there.
Oh.
You got to see.
You know what, Zach?
If you think about it like that, if you think about it, there are people out there who have actually seen the Surface phone, or something like that, a prototype of it, and it seems closer. It seems like it's an actual thing that exists.
Yeah, that's true. Ah, well, there's my rant. Yeah, we could protest. You and I will fly out
to
signs.
Bring back the Surface phone.
I used to live in Washington. I love it out there.
What if they make a Surface phone that looks like a Surface in phone form, but they don't call it Surface, they call it Lumia?
Yeah, I'll be less mad.
No, I don't think it's the naming that bothers me. It's the fact that it's plastic. If this was surfacey, I would love it. I think
magnesium.
Surfacey. Everyone knows what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. What's the next article?
No,
that's it.
Should Microsoft have bought Nokia in the first place?
They've been treading on their heels a lot with this because they kind of they
keep
bought
laying off people.
They bought Nokia, then they've just said, "All right, everybody who was in Nokia gone." And they shut down one of the facilities where they build the phones. I'm sure they did, or something like that. It's like they kind of just, I don't know what they bought the Lumia brand, and now the Lumia 650. Although it's not the air quotes last Lumia, it's the last Lumia that's currently in the plans.
Yeah, I don't know. We've had enough anger for the podcast, so I'm going to talk about this one calmly. In hindsight, it's really easy to look back and say no, because the suggestion that some people I saw in the comments, in fact, I probably should have given them credit, but I think I've since lost the comment. They sat there and they said they should have just focused on just the. They should have focused on just the Surface phone and not even have bought Nokia in the first place. And if they could do that today, then I agree with that. If they could have come out with the Surface phone at the same time that they bought Nokia, I would have been for that. But Windows 10 wasn't in place. Windows 10 Mobile wasn't in place. Remember, they bought Nokia in 2013, under the influence of Steve Ballmer, and I don't think they could have made a Surface phone at the time. The Surface line wasn't as premium as it is right now. Remember, this 3 years ago almost, 2.5 years ago.
It was Surface Pro 2 was the current.
Surface Pro 2, so the Surface had not made the leap into this great device line yet. They didn't have an operating system in place that could have done that. So I'm not sure that they could have done that. Now, if you had a time machine, and if in 2013 they could have come out with the Surface phone with Continuum, of course. But that's like cheating. That's like, yeah, I'm sure if somebody could come out today with technology that won't actually exist until 2019, I'm sure that would help their company. Imagine every 3 years there's huge leaps. But I think that's Monday morning quarterbacking. Hindsight's 2020. I don't think you could sit there realistically say they could have done that.
No, yeah, I don't think so. I think this year is a good time for a Surface phone. It's a dark age for Windows Phone fans, and the Surface phone is the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm not saying Surface phone will fix all of Windows 10 Mobile's problems, because it likely won't, but it will make it more bearable at least. At least when I'm holding my phone, I'll be like, oh well, at least the hardware's nice. Right now it's like, well, the software's crap and this phone don't feel too great.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. Like I said, they bought Nokia because Nokia was like flirting with Android, and they needed something, or they probably would have lost their whole market share. Can you imagine what a Windows phone might not even exist, honestly?
Well, nobody's building it. It was only Nokia, really.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. If
and
Windows
now it's
phone,
only Microsoft is like Apple all of a sudden. They just build their own hardware and software. Yeah. Now I'm joking. There's a few phones coming out with Windows 10 Mobile that aren't.
There are. I mean, but I don't think they could have done it. I think they had to buy it. It was like, I don't know. Your ship is sinking, and you had to destroy something in order to plug the holes in the boat. It's like, well, yeah, in hindsight, someone says, well, what if we just had a better floor? It's like, well, yeah, but that wasn't the issue you were dealing with at the time. So
yeah.
it was a lot of money, and they basically bought it. Obviously, they didn't. I mean, Nokia is still a company, I guess, to be accurate. They bought the phone.
They're going to release a smartphone soon, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll probably release an Android. Then they'll go release a smartwatch.
Imagine if it was a Windows phone.
That'd be funny.
The Nokia, what they call it? They couldn't call it Lumia. The Nokia
Milu.
Milu.
Yeah, the Milu. No, yeah. I mean, I agree with CB's comment. Interesting discussion. And you can still ask, should they have bought Nokia? People can have that discussion. But I don't think that they had a choice. I think they were kind of forced into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That's it.
That is pretty much it.
Well, that's it for the WinBeta Podcast. Now on Twitch, apparently.
Now on Twitch. I don't know if I guess we should stick here.
Honestly, Zach, have you seen the video quality? You can go full screen. Like, we're gonna have to make sure we use like acne wash and gel our hair and stuff, because like they can notice every little detail. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll wind up and then we'll have the after party on Twitch this week, and then we'll get your feedback on if you want us to stay here. This has been the WinBeta Podcast, episode 49 for the week of January 22nd, 2016. As always, I am one of your hosts, Sean Michael. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK, and you can find the other co-host, Zach.
At ZachB_.
There you go. Someone said Nokia Surface Phone. And you can find WinBeta on Twitter at WinBeta.org. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us. We're still gonna have stuff on YouTube. And Zach, I guess you'll put the rebroadcast up on YouTube.
Oh yeah, the rebroadcast will be YouTube.
So the rebroadcast will go up on YouTube, but live might be moving to Twitch. So we'll figure this out.
So you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/WinBetaTV. But you can find us on Twitch as well at twitch.tv/WinBeta.
There you go. Perfect. In at least 720, possibly higher.
Possibly higher.
So there you go. All right. Well, that's it for this week, guys. We will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.